Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome to this live presentation, and the topic is your emotions must earn your trust. All right. When I see an emotion coming up, when I'm going throughout my day doing my thing or whatever, and I see an emotion coming up, I don't jump into that emotion right away. I check it. I check the emotion to see, is that an emotion that's going to support my goals, support what I'm doing right now, support my vision in life. Because your emotions, they just come whenever they feel like coming. Like it's not like you're putting in a computer program and you say this emotion must come up at this certain time or whatever. No, it just comes when it feels like coming. And one of the places where you can mess up is if that emotion comes up and you immediately align with it and act from it or decide from it or behave from that emotion. You don't know if that emotion is the appropriate emotion for, moving you towards your goal, like moving you in the right direction towards achieving the result you're trying to achieve. And for that reason, I don't necessarily trust an emotion when it comes up. I check it first. And how do I check it? I check it with my intellect. I check it with my logic before I go into that emotion. Because let's say, for example, I got some shit to do. Maybe, okay, let's say I have a presentation to do, right? And I need to study something in order to make sure the presentation is done properly. Let's say an emotion comes up that says, you can study later, you know what I mean? You're tired right now, or, you know what I mean? You're not in the mood right now, whatever. That emotion, I don't align with it. I check it. I go into my intelligence, I go into my logic, and I say, is this the right emotion for me to act from in this moment, right? If I act from this emotion, will it lead me towards achieving my goal, or will it move me backward or divert or revert me backwards? You know what I mean? Like, I check the emotion. I'm like, yo, if I listen to this emotion and act from it, I'm gonna move backwards, right? If I tell myself, oh, I'm tired right now, I shouldn't do my presentation. Now I'm making things more difficult for myself, because what am I doing? I'm procrastinating, right? Something that I could just handle right now, get it out of the way. My emotion is telling me, nah, you could just do it later. You know what I mean? You're not in the mood for that right now, So I don't trust that emotion. And so what do I have to do? I have to rely on my intelligence. I have to rely on my logic. I have to rely on my willpower, my discipline to push past, even though this emotion is telling me, oh, you could just do it later or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't listen to that. I push through, right? I push through and I say, you know what? I'm going to rely on my discipline here. I'm going to rely on my intelligence here. I'm going to rely on my logic here. Because if I listen to this emotion, it's going to fuck me up. It's going to push me back. You know what I mean? It's going to one step forward, two steps back. You know what I mean? And I ain't with that. And so that's just an example I'm giving you when an emotion comes up and you can clearly see but you have to step back. You have to step back and put space in between you and the emotion so you can look at it and say, should I act from that emotion? You know what I mean? Another emotion you have to check is anger. When you feel yourself getting angry and you're about to act from that emotion, you need to step back and say, if I act from this emotion, is it going to get me a result that I want? Like if somebody says something and they piss you off and then you start going at them or whatever, is that going to get you the result you want, or is it just going to cause a conflict and cause a problem? Or is it better for you to step away from that emotion and decide to make a different decision? You know what I mean? Decide to do something differently, right? Instead of getting mad or whatever, you step back and relax and you say, bro, I don't really understand what you're saying. Can you explain yourself better? You know? You know what I mean? Just have a conversation. Like, that was something I had to work on, because I remember in high school, if somebody said something or did something that I didn't like or whatever, I was quick to get into like fight mode. Like, okay, let's fight about it, right? But that was an emotion that came up. Logically, for someone to just jump into a fight just because someone says something, that's not very smart. You know what I mean? That's not very intelligent. But I wasn't going with intelligence, I was going with the emotion. And so from having these experiences over time, I realized that you got to be able to check your emotions. You don't want to be trusting your emotions 100% just because it comes up, you know, and you think, okay, the emotion came up, so I need to go with it. Sometimes you got to step back and, you know, value intelligence over the emotion first before you jump into it, right? And the Stoic philosophy is a philosophy that I align with. It talks about that a lot. This ability to step back from emotion. It's not like you don't feel emotion. I'm not saying, you know, kill your emotions or anything like that. You feel the emotion, but you don't align with it or go into it or embody it right away. You know, you see it and you ask yourself, right? Is this the emotion I want to act from? If I act from this emotion, is it going to get me the result that I want? Is it going to help me achieve the goal I want to achieve? And so it's just understanding, like, don't just trust your emotions right away as soon as they come up. Because, I mean, you've probably had experiences where you've trusted the emotion and you acted from it, and then something happened that you didn't want to happen. You know what I mean? Or you made a decision that you later regretted. And it's because you acted from that emotion. You trusted it too soon, right? And one of the things you want to work on is getting your emotions on your side, right? And you get your emotions on your side by training yourself to choose a certain emotion in certain situations. And the only way I've seen to be able to do this is through discipline. Like, for example, I not really a morning person, right? But I've actually learned how to become a morning person, right? And basically, when I say I wasn't really a morning person, meaning when the morning came, I had an emotion that was telling me, oh, you're tired. You know what I mean? Oh, go back to sleep. Oh, you don't need to be up so early. Or, you know what I mean? Oh, right? That's an emotion. That's a feeling. But if I look at it logically or look at it with intelligence, it's like getting up early, there's a lot of benefits to that. You know what I mean? You get up early, you're able to get things done earlier. You know what I mean? You're able to, have a head start on the world. You know what I mean? You know, you feel good. You're like, oh yeah, I'm up early. I'm up before the sun or whatever. You know what I mean? It feels good to be able to do that because most people have a hard time with that. There's a lot of benefits that come with that. You know what I mean? But emotionally, you may feel like, nah, I just need to sleep in. Oh, I need some more hours, oh, this and that. And so, but I've been able to change the emotion. Not to say that I don't wake up sometimes and I'm still tired. I have those days. But it's not, the emotion when I wake up is not as strongly against me as it once was. Because I've trained myself through discipline, through willpower, to create this beingness or this belief that when I wake up, no matter how I feel, I get up. I'm gonna get up, right? And because I've done that consistently, the emotion stops fucking with me. Like, it's like, okay, we can't control this dude. Like, we're trying to get him to like sleep in and press the snooze and whatever. But because I've challenged that emotion so many times, it's starting to weaken and weaken and weaken, right? And so I have a much easier time waking up because I don't have my emotions against me. And so what I'm saying is, if you've been acting from emotions, you've been making decisions from your emotions, and they haven't been leading you towards the results you want or helping you achieve your goals, you need to stop trusting those emotions and start trusting your intelligence, start trusting your logic, start trusting your discipline, your willpower, right? Because if you have been a certain way for a long period of time, your emotions are aligned with that way of being. In order for you to change that, you're going to have to change your way of being, and your emotions are not going to like that. So they're going to fight. They're going to try to fight against this new you that's trying to enter the system. In order for you to rewrite the code, rewrite the emotion or whatever, overcome this powerful emotion, you're going to have to attack it. You're going to have to challenge it. And you have to challenge it with your intelligence, with your logic, with your heart, with your discipline, with your willpower. And the more you challenge it, the more it weakens, right? Like I have a much easier time waking up. I wake up at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? At one point, that shit was really hard for me, right? To do that consistently. Like I could do it once in a while or whatever, but do it consistently, like it was miserable for me. But now, sometimes I'm like, I'm ready to get up at 4:30. Like I feel myself up and I check my phone and I'm like, oh shit, it's only 4 a.m. Why am I already up? But it's because I started training myself, right? And the emotion it has weakened, right? This emotion doesn't have control over me. This old emotion of, oh, it's too early, go back to sleep. You know what I mean? It's like a feeling, right? Like that's the words I'm putting on it, but it's a feeling of, oh, you need more sleep. Oh, you need to go back to sleep. Oh, you know what I mean? It's an emotion, it's a feeling. But I've challenged it because I stopped trusting it because it's like, okay, I'm not choosing that emotion. You know what I mean? Like I'm not choosing. An emotion is coming up that's actually, pushing me away from the achievement of my goals, and I'm not even choosing the emotion. So I'm like, okay, I can't align with that. So what can I align with? As I said, you can align with your intelligence, align with your logic, align with your discipline, right? Because you can look at the intelligence, you could see the logic. Okay, it would make sense for me to just wake up at the time I said. I'll be able to get my stuff done. You know what I mean? I'd be have a head start on the world, and I'd be able to be on time, and right, there's you logically know the benefits, but now you have to bring in the discipline to do it, right? Even though the emotion is telling you not to do it. And so that's what I'm saying. Like trusting emotions, if it's working for you, then okay, go ahead, trust your emotion. But if you've been trusting your emotions and it has been moving you backwards or keeping you stuck in your comfort zone, you have to stop trusting your emotions and start trusting your intelligence. You know, value your intelligence over your emotion. If your emotion's saying one thing and your intellect saying another thing, go with that. Your emotion saying one thing, your logic saying another thing, go with that. Right? And over time, the emotion, this emotion that's pushing you back, right? It starts to weaken and it gets replaced with another emotion because you have to figure it out, right? Like your body is like, okay, he's not listening to this emotion. We have to rewrite the software, right? And it comes up with a new emotion. So now sometimes when I wake up, it's more of like the emotion that comes up is like it's like never really put words on it, but it's a strong emotion. It's like an emotion of like let's do this. You know what I mean? Like let's do this. Like let's get up. You know what I mean? It's changing into that emotion because I've consistently challenged that old emotion of, oh, go to sleep, oh, press the snooze button, no, you need more time. So I'm using this example because this is the one that's coming in my head, but I'm sure, depending on where you're at in your life, you've seen these situations where you've aligned with an emotion, and because you align with that emotion, your condition in life got worse, right? You got the opposite of the result you wanted. I'm sure this has happened many times to you and you've regretted your decision. It's because you trusted an emotion that was actually working against whatever your goal is or whatever you're trying to achieve. Because if you're trying to achieve something, obviously you have not currently achieved it. So this way of being is not the being that's going to achieve that result. There's a new way of being that you have to take on, which means you have to destroy the old identity. And the old identity has a certain software that's running. There's a certain code that's running, and you have to rewrite that, right? And in order to rewrite that, you have to challenge the feeling, the emotion, and understand it's not you. You have to distance yourself, put some space in between the emotion and you. You're the person experiencing this emotion. So that means you can decide to align with it, or you could decide to distance yourself from it and act from a different place. As I said, your intelligence, right? Your ability to say that emotion right now is not the emotion I want to act from because it's going to give me the opposite result of what I want, or not the result that I want. And so it's just having this understanding that, valuing your intelligence, valuing your logic, valuing discipline, willpower is necessary to achieve, your goals. It's necessary for you to become your best self. It's necessary for you to get out your comfort zone, right? And create and manifest and attract what you want. So just having this understanding, like I'm not saying emotions are bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't align with your emotions. I'm just saying if there's a certain emotion that's coming up and you didn't choose it, it's just coming up. Look at it and check it and see if it's aligned with your intellect, if it's aligned with your logic, if it's aligned with your goals, your vision. If it's not, don't act from it, you know? And it will fade. Emotions are temporary. That's the good thing about emotions. It's not like sometimes we get caught up in emotion and we think that's who we are. It's gonna change after some time, right? It's temporary. It's not constant. It's not going to continue, right? And the more you reject it, the more it will start to fade. It will weaken, right? Because it sees that you're strong enough you're strong enough to like remove yourself from it, right? Detach from it. And so it realizes that and it goes away. You know what I mean? So the way how I've been able to do this is simply by valuing intelligence over emotions, right? Until I see the emotion that's aligned. Once the emotion aligns with what I'm doing, aligns with my goals, aligns with my purpose, aligns with my vision, then I take that emotion on, align with it, and then boom, and I use it, right? The right emotion, okay? Or, you know, I didn't even touch on this. You can out-create an emotion, right? What I do sometimes, let's say I have an emotion of kind of like maybe an emotion of being tired or maybe being a little down on myself or shy or whatever, right? Just an emotion that's not going to be supportive of a goal. Let's say, you know, the goal is like I need to go out and socialize, or I need to go and do a presentation, or I need to do a talk or whatever. A shy, tired, bored emotion, feeling, you know, mood is not going to support that. And so I will do something physically to get out of that state, right? Sometimes it may be push-ups. I may just start doing some push-ups. Or I may listen to some music and start dancing or whatever. Whatever I got to do, you know, moving my body, changing up my energy to get out of that emotion, right? Because I don't trust that emotion. That's not the right emotion for what I'm about to do. And so you have to do something about it, right? Either you detach from the emotion and let it fade, or you out-create it, right? You create a new emotion through physical action, right? Through physical action. That's the best way to do it. Is change the movement of your body. You know, I used to think like, I'm not gonna do that. That's weird. But nah, it works, man. You know what I mean? Whatever works, just do it. Like that's been my philosophy. You know, and as of shit, like as of, you know what I mean, maybe a few years ago or whatever. Whenever I decided like I really committed to evolution, really committed to improving as a man and becoming the best version of myself, right? I really started to take on this philosophy of whatever works, right? I had to mature into this because I used to think whatever works as long as I think it's cool, right? So like meditation, I didn't think it was cool, so I wouldn't do it for some time. You know, this whole idea of changing up your state by moving your body and stuff, I wouldn't do it because I didn't think it was cool. Now I'm like, forget this whole trying to be cool thing, right? It's either you're cool or you're not, right? That's just how I see it now. So it's like, if something works, I'm going to do it, okay? Now, if it's unethical or immoral, I'm not going to do it, right? That's a different story. But I'm saying, like, these things that I once thought were corny or whatever, right? Like, I might even get into yoga now. At one point, yoga, the idea of yoga, I'm like, no, never, right? Now I'm like, I might do some yoga, man. I heard there's some good benefits for it, right? Or I might read a book that maybe before I would have thought was, I'm not going to read a book like that, but I'll read it now. You know what I mean? I just picked up a book called Mortal Instruments, right? And it's like a fantasy book. It's supposed to be about werewolves and warriors and all kind of stuff, and it has a female lead, right? Normally I wouldn't get a book like that, right? Because I like when it's a male lead so I can relate to the character more. But I said, you know what? Let me do something different. All right, let me try something different, right? An emotion came up and was kind of like, you shouldn't get a book like that. But I looked at it logically. I looked at it with my intelligence. I said, man, but there may be a benefit there. You know, me reading a book that I normally wouldn't read, maybe I'll get some new ideas. Maybe it'll open up my mind, expand my awareness, right? And I want that. I'm all about evolution. I'm all about growing, being the best version of myself. So I'm like, okay, don't align with that emotion that's telling me, no, that's weird, that's awkward. Okay, it's just valuing your intelligence over your emotions, right? Because intelligence, what I found is when you align with intelligence, you'll grow. You'll get better, right? When you align with logic and truth, you'll grow. You'll get better, right? It may be painful, right? It's not easy having an emotion and then deciding not to go into it because you have to do something differently. Like it's easy to just go into an emotion. It's very easy to do that. But what if it's not the right emotion? If it's not the right emotion, I'm not going into it. I'm not going to embrace it. I'm not going to take it on. I'm going to detach from it and out-create it. Create a different emotion, right? You know, if I'm feeling kind of, maybe too tight, too serious or whatever, I'll do a meditation so I can relax. I'll do a meditation, do some breathing. Right? Whatever is necessary, whatever works, man, because I'm here to win. I'm here to win. I'm here to evolve. I'm here to get better. I'm here to increase my value as a man. I'm here to become, I'm here to tap into my potential. You know what I mean? I'm not here to just be complacent or be average or just be okay, right? I'm here to be great, amazing, right? And if that's the goal and I have to do certain things and I have to get intelligent about my life and live with intelligence as a value, then I'll do that, right? And why not? Like, I don't want to get the results I don't want in life. I don't want to fail. I don't want to, achieve unnecessary rejection, right? Unnecessary negativity, right? If it's not necessary, why would I want it, right? So it's just, this is just something to think about it, or I would apply it, because I've been applying it and I've seen much benefit. It's just valuing intelligence over your emotions, like not trusting your emotions right away, looking at it for what it is, and looking at the situation and asking yourself, is this the right emotion that's going to get me closer to my goals? Yes or no? If it's no, discard the emotion, right? Discard it in the sense that you just refuse to align with it and out-create it, right? Because it's kind of hard to detach. Like, I guess that maybe that's something I've learned over time. I don't think I was always able to do that. But out-creating I feel is a lot easier because that's like a proactive thing you can do. As I said, you could just, go and do some push-ups or go do a cold shower or go and, go out for a walk. Like, just move your body, you know what I mean? Move your body, change up the energy in your system, you know what I mean? So the emotion changes. The emotion is energy in motion. So change the emotions, right? Sometimes I wake up early and I feel tired, the first thing I do is I work out, because when you start working out, your body's, your emotions is going to change. It's going to go from tired to here we go. You know what I mean? Here we go. We're right into it. All right. So that's the video. If you're a man watching this and you want to improve as a man, you want to become more attractive, you want to become more powerful, right? You want to improve your inner game. Like this video is about the inner game, right? It's not about, oh, what do I say to the girl? What do I do? It's about handling your character, handling your mind, handling your emotions, right? So when you approach a woman, you approach her from a grounded place, from a place where she's like, okay, this is a cool guy. He's relaxed, he's confident. You know what I mean? He knows who he is. He knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? He's not insecure. He's secure. He's whole, right? And so she's like, okay, kind of interesting, And that's the start. That's how you want. You want her to be like, he's kind of interesting, right? Obviously, the higher interest level you can get is the best, but at minimum, you want her to at least think you're interesting, bro. Because if she thinks you're interesting, then she'll talk to you. Like, okay, let me see what he has to say, right? And just having these core qualities, having these things on point, your mind on point, your energy on point, you know what I mean? These are the things that are coming across in your communication. When you speak, you're speaking your thoughts. You're speaking your emotions, right? So if your thoughts are off, negative thoughts or whatever, your emotion is a negative emotion, it's not the emotion you want or whatever, that's what you're communicating. And so the response you get is based on that, right? So even if you have these other things going on, your communication is off, it's going to trigger people the wrong way. It's going to cause unnecessary rejection, unnecessary conflict, right? So if you're a man, you want to improve your inner game, you want to become your best self, hit me up. I have this group. It's called the Sexy Beast Tribe. In that group, I show you how to become more grounded in your masculinity, how to express yourself authentically, and be more of a leader. Carry this leading masculine energy. All right, see you in the next video. Peace.